Hey, what's up? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this MLB 8-game slate for DraftKings on Thursday, July 30th. I said July 30th. We got the 8-gamer. Pretty good day today as well. Some of the bats didn't come through. The pitchers came through well, but the bats didn't, but it's fine. Today, another good day for bats, it looks like, and some decent amount of pitchers. So it should be pretty interesting. I think a lot of chalk will go to the Yankees. But before I get into it, if you could like, comment, subscribe, I really do appreciate it. Get over to that Patreon if you want deeper breakdown info, more so for GPPs and like just leverage spots. It's really good content. I mean, I have some guys doing fairly well over there on the MLB, the League of Legends video that I put out, and then now with basketball coming up, I'll be doing a bigger breakdown video for that. But yeah, let's get to it. So first, we're gonna run through the starting lineups. Kind of like the over-unders, the projected run total. So we got the Yankees 6.35 looking pretty high. Orioles not looking too good. Cleveland not looking too good. Minnesota's not looking too good. They got two decent pitchers in that matchup. You got the Red Sox and the Mets, which are the Mets are looking pretty solid. I think they'll go a little overlooked, but they are in a favorable matchup for sure, which is intriguing. And then you got the Royals and the Tigers. Royals projected pretty decently. Tigers decent run total as well. You got the Rays and the Braves in a decent matchup between pitchers. Doesn't look like it'll be high scoring. The weather doesn't look too good over there either. And then you got the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Dodgers versus Robbie Ray. So they're not projected as high as usual, but still good. Still projected higher than yesterday, so that's interesting. And then you got the Mariners, Angels. Angels looking pretty solid at 5.66 runs, right below I think they're second below the Yankees. And then we don't have the Padres and Giants winning yet, but I don't think that one will be too high scoring just because of the ballpark again. But yeah, let's get to it. So first I'm going to run through the pitchers, then I'm going to run through some stacks that I like. As far as pitchers, I mean, you're going to see the guys all up top. You're going to see J. Happ, Barrios, pretty high price. Bieber at 9.8K in a tough matchup, in my opinion, versus Minnesota. The main guy I'm going to talk about is Dinelson Lamet at 9.2K. Looked really good in his first matchup, 25.7 fantasy points versus Arizona. 8 strikeouts. Just looked very good. Looked very good in that matchup. Not too much to complain about him. He was in a good matchup, and I think he's in a better matchup today. Just going through the plate IQ against the Giants. His matchup is looking solid. He's good versus lefties, good versus righties, good WOBA, good ISO. His strikeout percentage 31 versus lefties, 31% versus righties. His fly ball rate is good. Soft contact is good. Just a really good pitcher. Looked really good in his first start. And these guys really struggle versus right-handed pitching. And the Giants aren't really an offense I'm too scared of. They look pretty decent today, but I mean, I'm not going to count on them to be that consistent daily. So I do like LeMay. He's probably my favorite pitcher on the slate as of right now, so I am going to be plugging in him to a lot of my lineups. Then you got Fried versus Tampa Bay, Stripling versus Arizona, and then you got Dylan Bundy versus Seattle, which is the main guy. The next guy I'm going to talk about at 8.2K, super solid pitcher. 23.1% strikeout percentage last season. His walk rate was alright. His xFIP was alright. Kind of struggles decently with both sides of the plate, but it's more so a pitching matchup. I mean, he's going against Seattle. We all know Seattle's not that good. They're going to try to put out as many lefties as they can, looking like at least 6 or 7 lefties, which he does kind of struggle versus lefties. You see the big gap between the strikeout percentage, 17.6% and 28.4%, 11% difference, which is pretty high. His walk rate is better versus lefties. His hard hit rate's better versus lefties. So not a bad match. It's more so a matchup thing for me. The Mariners didn't look good against Heaney today either. They did end up winning eventually against the bullpen, but I think Dylan Bundy could go out there and pitch a decent game, and I know he looked very solid in his first start. Put up 28.6 fantasy points versus the A's, which is a tough feat. You know, that's a good offense. So he went out there and performed very, very well, and I'll just take my chances. I'll continuously take my chances against Seattle as the season goes on, honestly. I'm not too afraid of them. But the last pitcher I do want to talk about, a pitcher I do want to note, if you want to be even cheaper at pitcher, I am pretty interested in Brady Singer. Looked good in his first match. Right-handed pitcher, 18.3 fantasy points, 7 strikeouts, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs in those 3 hits, which did kind of skew his numbers a little bit, but at 6.8K in a really good matchup versus Kansas City. Versus Detroit is very good. If you look at a lot of these Detroit hitters, a lot of their right-handed, they struggle versus righties. You look at all these Wobas in red, not good. Strikeout percentage, 25% strikeout percentage versus righties last season. The numbers are just not good with this team. They're going to put out there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 righties, and then Candelario and Goodrum, which are switch hitters. Goodrum with 32.4% strikeout. Their contact is very low. They don't really do a lot of hard hit. It's just a good matchup. I think it's more so like a GPP play. If you do want to be very cheaper, I'd probably swap out Bundy with them. But me personally, I'll probably be sticking with LeMay and Dylan Bundy in smaller contests and plugging in Singer in bigger contests for sure. But yeah, all right, let's get to the bats next. First team I want to talk about is the Royals. Royals are still very cheap on DraftKings, very, very cheap. You got guys like Merrifield, Soler, Mondesi, Cordero. You got O'Hearn and Franco at 2K, and they're practically batting cleanup for this lineup, which just doesn't make any sense. The fact that they're priced so cheap just doesn't make any sense in my opinion. In a good matchup versus Nova, Nova's not good. For 14% strikeout percentage, his walk rate's pretty decent, but he's very bad versus lefties. Not that good versus righties. He's a little better versus righties, but he's still nothing I'm afraid of. And you got just cheap guys across the board. Merrifield's even cheap. I think he's their most expensive guy, and he's at 4.1K, so you will see a lot of ownership go to these guys like Merrifield, Soler. I guarantee you will see a lot of ownership, even as just filler. Perez at 2.6 at the catcher position. Just too many cheap guys on this roster that are going to be played in a ton of lineups, and you're going to want pieces of it, whether you want to stack a lot of it or pieces of it, that's up to you. But it's really, like I said, just up to you. One guy I am interested in is O'Hearn at 2K, just because of the matchup. He's the split matchup. He's lefty versus a righty. At 2K, probably going to be batting like 4th or 5th in the lineup. Not the best numbers, but he's 2K, and it lets you really pay up for a lot of other guys. His hard hit rate solid, 45.5% hard hit rate. Just a good matchup. I like the matchup, like I said, against the pitcher. Nova's just not that good. And Kansas City's a decent offense. They're not the worst offense. They're not expected to be, playoff team, but Nova's just not that good to not at least take some shots on the Kansas City side. And the fact that you can get so many of the pieces for below 3,000 is very intriguing. From like the 3 to like the 6 or 7, they're all below 3K. So just getting pieces of it, if you don't want to stack too much of it, I really understand. But just getting pieces of it will be needed in contests for sure. Next team I want to talk about is the Angels, which I am going to be plugging in again. This is kind of like tiers, I guess you could say. Kansas City's like my lower price team. The Angels are like my mid price team that I'm interested in going through their lineup. You got guys like Trout, Rendon, Ohtani. Ohtani got priced down because he hasn't been that amazing lately, but he did hit a home run today. Rendon has been looking good. Trout has been looking good. And then you get guys below like Upton. You got the righties versus Marco Gonzalez. He's alright, 17.1 strikeout percentage though, but he really struggles versus both sides of the plate, especially his strikeout rate's not good. His ground balls, his line drives, his fly balls are not good versus righties. His WOBA and his ISO are decent, but these guys are a lot better than you think. You got Fletcher, you got Trout, you got Rendon that really mashes left-handed pitching. Then you got Upton. You're gonna have 4 righties in the top of this lineup, followed by Ohtani, and then Albert Pujols, which isn't the worst batter. A lot of hard hit rate in this lineup, a lot of contact. If you see 95%, 82, 87, 83, they're going to hit the ball, whether it's going to be in play or out of the ballpark. So that'll be nice to see out of the ballpark because I am going to be playing a decent amount of Angels. But this is kind of like my mid-price stack. I would be looking at targeting Gonzalez for sure. I do like Rendon. I like Trout. I like Fletcher. I like Upton. Upton's pretty cheap at like 3.6K. We know he hit that 300th home run of his career tonight, so it's pretty good. I mean, then even below, Pujols is a little overpriced in my opinion, but just Trout, Rendon, Ohtani's alright, Pujols, Upton, and then Fletcher at 3.2K. He's been looking solid. Didn't have a good game today. He put up a donut, but before that he was playing really solid. I think he comes out and has another good game versus a righty, versus a lefty in the lefty-righty matchup. So I do like him. Just a cheap guy, and I could see myself stacking a good amount of Angels today. Next game I'm going to look at is going to be obviously the Yankees game, which I'm going to talk about next because they are looking very solid. You got LeMahieu up top. You got Judge up top. You got Torres and Stanton that really destroy left-handed pitching. You see these WOBAs over 400 for LeMahieu, Judge, and Stanton. Very good numbers. You see the hard hit rate for Stanton is 66.7%, Judge for 57.7%. The contact for LeMahieu, I really like LeMahieu. He's probably my favorite play on the team. Just running through the team, you can already see yourself playing Stanton, Judge, and LeMahieu at 4.4. At 4.4, he's just too cheap for the matchup. The hard hit rate's good. The WOBA's good. The ISO's good. 13% strikeout percentage. He rarely strikes out, and Means isn't really that good versus righties. You see his ISO, you see his strikeout percentage at 17.6. His ground ball rate's not good. His fly ball's at 50%. So like if these guys are hitting the ball, it's probably going to go pretty far with hitters. Just so many righties in this lineup. They're going to have 9 righties out there versus a lefty. Eventually one of these guys is going to hit a bomb on them. They were looking pretty good today as well. They are priced pretty high, but you will see a lot of people probably pairing them up with Kansas City just because of the fact that Kansas City's so cheap, and then it's going to help you be able to pay up for the New York bats, which I do really like myself. But like I said, these are kind of the early looks that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Yankees. I like Kansas City for savings, and then I like the Angels kind of for like a mid-tier stack if you're trying to pay up more at pitcher or something like that. But those are the 3 pitchers I like. Those are the 3 stacks I like. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys.